Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a potential shift in the point of view of the World Eater's Grotmist detachment for Vessels of Wrath. Now, I was a bit high up on it, not gonna lie. And then I did a follow-up reviewing all of the Grotmist detachments with things we knew or know now, and I was down on it again, or downer from where I was. But now, after coming up with a possibly stupid idea that isn't going to be in this video, it's a discarded video, um, I'm higher up on it again. So Vessels of Wrath, in my head, right, world eaters that have the potential to always advance and charge with sustained and lethal hits sounds pretty damn scary. Now, thanks to my friend, letting me know, I already talked about this, but letting me know, well, you usually have access to advanced and charge some way, you don't really need all of them, things like that. And I go, well, then you just add another one of these, right? And while that's kind of true, I am now realizing another thing about what if you just make good better. Now, with Vessels of Wrath and World Eaters, you all have a limited range right now. And it comes down to two main build theories from what I've seen, right? You either take Angron or 30 Terminators. So, seeing World Eater's Terminator champion, I think a lot of people in Vessels of Wrath have shifted to the idea of 30 Terminators for Vessels of Wrath. And I'm not here to say that that's wrong or anything. I don't play this faction. I'm just here to think about what I stumbled upon, into which I think the Exalted 8 bound are the best unit for Vessels of Wrath. So, I was playing around with an idea in the fact that it seems only Death Guard take Nurgle allies or their demon aligned allies or whatever, right? So, was Vessels of Wrath the time for World Eaters to take Corn? And I landed on taking Scarbrand to abuse Punish the Craven. Into which, if they try to fall back around Scarbrand, you can't do it. But if you do manage to do it, Punish the Craven, you have to take a Desperate Escape test. So a lose-lose. That's when I found out that Exalted 8 bound do that anyway. And now, mind you, you can still take Scarbrand with some Bloodletters, and that these auras will essentially stack because they're two different aura names, so they would have to take two tests and pass the leadership to get out of it, and then a desperate escape. So I had this whole video planned on locked in combat, eternal battle, right? Whatever. Um, but then thinking about it a little bit more, if this is a 18 exalted 8 bound detachment, which I see isn't a stranger around here because you all are working with limited resources, right? So we see something like that pop up here. And then you all seem to mix and match the ratios, and power to you. There's only so much you can do, right? But maybe one unit of exalted 8 bound, maybe one full, two halves, right? Things like that. Go into Vessels of Wrath. There's one mech squad, and then Demon Princes, I believe there was. You know, exalted 8 bound are taken where they are. But with Vessels of Wrath, one of the things that you can do is always choose Wrathful Devotion to make your 6 up Feel No Pain a 5 up Feel No Pain, right? And with Gateways to Glory, you can make a Demon Prince that gives anything with a 5 up invuln a 4 up invuln, i.e., the Exalted 8 bound, take away the weakness of being a monster so you can go through walls, you can even normal, advance, or charge move through models and terrain features, even through engagement range. So this is pretty cracked for 10 points, right? So with two parts of that down, you have Exalted 8 bound that can always have access to a 5 up Feel No Pain and a 4 up Invulnerable save. For 18 models, that are T6, 3 up save, 4 up invuln, 3 wounds you pop, deep strike. That sounds pretty nice. And then going further, I'm a fan of Brazen Contempt, or a fan of the idea of Brazen Contempt on Angron. That way you keep Angron around a little bit more. Compared to, well, I could just get more rolls to bring him back. How about Angron doesn't leave? But with Brazen Contempt, not only is it, the strength greater than toughness minus 1 to wound, but if they're a Vessel of Wrath, a flat minus 1 to wound. So now we're dealing with Exalted 8 bound that have a 4 up invulnerable save, a 5 up feel no pain, and minus 1 to wound flat. And then, because going back to what I first was going on, Punish the Craven, you have World Eater's Infantry, if you know, or World Eater's Demon Prince, if they're in combat with you, and try to fall back. They have to take a test to pass to see if they remain stationary. If they are still locked in combat, they're locked in combat with Exalted 8 bound. And if they get out, you can pop 1 CP to make them take a Desperate Escape test. So, they lose no matter what happens there. Then there's also another thing that confused me. Looking over at Berserker Warband, let's pull that up too. I really was trying to understand why you would use Overshadowed by None, into which, Infantry, Mounted, Demon Prince, to reroll the wound rolls, compared to where you have it on For the Skull Throne, into which you can target a character, monster, or vehicle unit and give it +1 to wound. And I found my answer. Exalted 8 bound have Chain Fist and Eviscerators. So if you are going into a monster or vehicle, probably have enough strength on the Chain Fist, or maybe if you go with the twin linked Chain Fist, the paired Chain Fist, right? Probably have enough strength to get through whatever that may be, into which you just need to reroll the wounds. So that kind of made sense there. And since they deep strike, it makes a little bit more sense with Gory Dedication, into which if you deep strike or, end up in combat, right, some way, somehow, you're World Eaters, you're fond away, then kill something on objective, you can sticky it, and then walk away. So, I say all this to say that if you haven't got it by now, I think I'm advocating for Vessels of Wrath 18 Exalted 8 bound. And with a World Eater's Demon Prince, probably Angron. These are still good buffs. If Angron's about to go pop, Brazen Contempt. If it seems like that might be an actual struggle. If not, you have Brazen Contempt for 4 up invuln, 5 up feel no pain, Exalted 8 bound, minus 1 to wound. While Angron gives reroll hits, and you have something for possibly reroll wounds, assuming we're not talking about having 8 bound nearby. So, yeah, figured that was a nice little thing into which maybe instead of 30 Terminators, or Angron being the deciding factor, we start with stacking, or you all start with stacking, Exalted 8 bound, and see what happens there. Because, mind you, you just need to do it on the champion, so you can still put Lord Invocatus, and, well, you don't need to do it on the Lord on Juggernaut, that'd be redundant, but you can still do it with Lord Invocatus' unit, into which, while this model is leading a unit, that unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in turn in which it fell back. At the start of the battle, before any moves are made using the Scout's ability, you can select up to 2 friendly World Eaters infantry units within 6 inches of this model. Until the end of the battle, all models in the selected unit have the Scout 6 inches ability. So, you can choose your own 8 bound, start them on the field, and then choose another infantry unit, Scout 6. And, well, Lord on Juggernaut, you have the things you want, just nice things that can go with the Exalted 8 bound, and then everybody receive whatever benefits of your choosing, pretty much. If you're just aiming for Wrathful Devotion to be the one, don't really need to worry about the sustained or lethal. Yeah, that makes sense. Why you would just go for re-rolling possibly hits and re-rolling the wounds. I'm just saying. Now that I think about it, it all adds up. And the last mystery tab is just Corn Berserkers. Helps with the whole 8-bound situation and the Punish the Craven tactic, into which if some shit is just blood surging into your opponent and they get locked in combat and try to get away from something as little as Corn Berserkers, quote unquote little, um, they also have to deal with Aspire to Infamy. But, again, the whole, well, Corn Berserkers surged into my face and I was going to fall back, shoot, and charge, or fall back and whatever, right? Yeah, Punish the Craven makes that pretty nasty with the Exalted 8 bound. So, yeah, I think hopefully this catches on to some World Eaters players to tell me how good or bad it is, but I think a new build has entered the conversation. So yeah, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment, and until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.